we start looking at the top 9, which is obviously where that cutoff is to make it to the finals and avoid going into that last chance qualifier. It is so tight around that 9th place at the moment, and the games are disappearing in front of us. It's match 7 on World's Edge about to kick off now. And TSM going into that previous game were the team who were holding on. Now they would have put a few more points on the board, and we'll update you exactly on the leaderboards when we can. But I mean, I got a feeling, yesterday I had a feeling there might be 1 or 2 teams. Today I've got a feeling when we get to match 10, we might see a huge shift in that final game of who qualifies for those finals.
Yeah, it's TSM in 9th place at the moment on 34 points, but Weibo, after their victory, they're only 5 points behind them. It is not safe if you are in 9th, because all it takes is 1 victory from someone below you, and quite significantly further below you as well, and they can catch you up. Now we drop into World's Edge, though, and we start to look across. Is there a contest? Yes, there is. TIE and Blacklist International over towards Geyser, currently having a little scrap at the moment, but it is not a head-on scrap. It's a distance fight right now.
I will say, I respect Famas here, because he's just got a longbow in his hands and he is sending it. Yeah, that's confidence, right? Knowing that you want to get in the close-range engagement with just a longbow in your hands, well, it's usually a sign of confidence, shall we say. Elsewhere, as you can see, some shots coming in, and Mizuchi also getting involved with this, rotating from Big Mortsin if there's some free KP for them. The zone is going... It's a Weibo Gaming. It's a Weibo Gaming charm that's being waved right now. Zone's going down towards them.
Yeah, Weibo Gaming will be delighted. Riddle Order also will be pretty happy with that one. Alliance nearby in Thermal Station. Good to see Alliance back at Thermal as well. And we'll have to see whether they can find their way. But one big thing, Alliance do not have a ring console down at Thermal. They only have a survey beacon to work with. So if they can be patient, wait a short while, that survey beacon will very much come in handy. Otherwise, if they were to move too quickly, they might get bitten.
It's crazy, right? You think about that, and I'm looking at the zone, like a zone 1 read, and the fact that a large amount of the zone 1 is off the map down the south, you probably, I would say, feel more confident in making a zone call like, hey, this is going tree, this is going down towards one site, and you should feel pretty confident in that. But from what we saw earlier when we saw the Skyhook zone pull all the way back towards Grandma, I don't think it's as simple as that anymore for these teams. They're like, 99.99% of my brain is telling me I'm confident in this, but the 0.1 is like, should we go and find a ring console just to be sure of it?
Nowhere is safe, it would seem, and we'll see if Weibo feel the same here, because they have been joined very quickly by a couple of other squads, not just 1, but it's actually, I think, 2 or 3 are starting to come towards launch site here, so they need to be very careful, and you can see a lot of grenades coming into as well. It's Heroes who are going to be on the other side of this, and NRG aren't so far too.
Knuckle Cluster's going in, nobody getting knocked as yet, and on the map overhead you can see exactly how the teams are trying to approach and siege onto this building. NRG just a little bit further away at the moment. They might be waiting for the third-party opportunity for some knocks to come in, and it's, I would say, a smart disengagement here from Heroes. Maybe a couple of shots in the back from NRG made them aware of their position. Maybe just a little bit of scouting was done to kind of point out that that wasn't as free as they thought it would be. Elsewhere, though, another fight threatening to take place here is going to be between Blacklist International and Fnatic. And Fnatic were just waiting for someone to jump up on that beacon. Jump up they did, and a bit of damage was dealt. So Blacklist International very much on the back foot here.
On the back foot, and they are retreating just to try and find a little bit more cover to work with so they can heal back up. But Fnatic are getting somewhat aggressive. They might be halted just by the amount of buildings that are going to be in their way here. But if you've got a motherload to work with and you've got a smoke, the smoke misses. Oh, you go for it as well. That's a rough one.
Hey, it happens, right? Even the best in the world can miss a smoke. Fnatic instead trying the more traditional routes, jumping up to the high ground with the Pathfinder grapple and using the Hemlock to get some damage down. And this is forcing Blacklist International actually into TSM, who are rotating their way through Fragment. So all of a sudden, Blacklist International are not just getting chased by 1 team, but by 2 teams as well. Yeah,
this should be some KP for TSM. It's just walked right into their path, right onto their plates. And they say, we'll gobble that down. Thank you very much indeed. They might not get the entire wipe, but they will get at least a KP or 2 to go along with their rotation through to the south side of this map.
So 2 players from Blacklist International fall to TSM. It's going to be 2 points for them, and we mentioned how close it is. We said at the start of this game, TSM are in 9th. 2 KP, they're up to 6th. That's how crazy it is at the moment when it comes to who's going to be in those qualification spots at the end of today's action. And I think if you're Fnatic there, you're a little bit frustrated because you did most of the work in that fight, and TSM just went, thanks, buddy. I'll take those.
Yeah, Fnatic would have fancied those points, but they might get rewarded still because the position they hold is a gatekeeping one. There is a chance that both SSG and the remainder of Blacklist International could still push in this direction. So they might be careful here. They're, of course, go grab that Harvester as well to go towards their Evo shields. But at the moment, it looks like Fragment is going to be a bit quieter. By the way, just an update on Alliance. We were curious. They've actually gone all the way to Mirage Etoile to get a ring console for that information.
That is the 0.1%. Don't trust anyone, even yourself. Meme. That's not a file type. Anyway, back towards Tree. You enjoyed that one, didn't you? Did. Northception. Let's look a little bit closer to zone and towards Tree. They're holding the bridge for now. It's going to be interesting to see what side this shifts, actually. If it goes up towards the platform that we saw Falcons win a game on yesterday, or if it pulls a little bit more north towards the majority of the tree structure, or if we have a little bit of funky pull. Do you fancy funky pull?
I always fancy a funky pull, to be honest. As, by the way, TIE were eliminated earlier, and TSM find that remaining player they were looking for. It's Blacklist International now eliminated. So TIE in 20th, Blacklist in 19th, and TSM will finally secure those KP they were looking for.
Jump scare of the day, was it that one, or was it Nocturnal? Nocturnal, I would agree with you. Yeah, I would agree with you. Anyway, back to the map overhead. You can see what we're talking about right now. And maybe Alliance choosing to go for that beacon is going to be something that pays off for them. But you can see on your map overhead that they're running into Elevate. And you can also see that in your picture-in-picture on the right-hand side. So Elevate took a little bit of damage in this little scuffle at the moment. It looks like Alliance might have done enough just to force them away. And it's kind of a win-win for both teams here. If both survive, Elevate can go to Landslide and get the ring console. And if they get pushed away by Alliance, Alliance can hit it here. Everyone's happy.
Well, you can see the ring pull. It's not necessarily a funky one. It is just going towards Tree. Maybe there was a couple of teams that were hoping it would be on launch site, Weibo Gaming being one of them. But now there will be the evidence for all those teams who have got ring console information. We're going down to Tree. We already have 6 teams residing in Tree, so there's not going to be much room to play with. As we look back earlier at some of the replays, it was when TSM were able to find the remainder of Blacklist International, or at least the initial start of Blacklist International, and then later we saw the cleanup and the jump scare number 2 of the day.
One team is in a great spot here, right at the northern side of things, and like you mentioned, who dropped over here is going to be Riddle Order. Riddle Order on Blue Evos at the moment. We've lost the 2 squads so far, so we are going to have a very, very hectic and exciting endgame. And when you look at the positionings at the moment, it's a big game for Riddle Order as well.
Well, yeah, they're in 20th position at the moment. This is exactly where Weibo was.
Wouldn't it be crazy if you know where we're going with this, right?
They are center zone, and this is why it's worrying for teams like Heroes, for example, right? Heroes were about 12 points clear of last place going into last game. Now they're only, what, 6 points clear of last place? And that last place team is currently center zone of this game. It is going to be flipping back and forth at the bottom of this lobby, that's for sure.
Well, DMS inside a tree at the moment, but I always feel like this position is a vulnerable one, especially when teams start to stack up. There's so many angles that you can just get chipped away from, and even though you feel goodish for now, being in 19th position, in this position, relative to where they find themselves on the map, they're going to be feeling extremely nervous for the next few moments of gameplay. Shots coming in from Bobo with this Sentinel though, 70-70. We'll take that from there, especially with the 3 times.
That is a ridiculous zip line, by the way. I'm also wondering where Weibo are going to go here, as now the zip is going to be towards the balloon, up, and away. And they're going to be falling with style afterwards. But I will say, Weibo now have to move all the way from the east side of launch site to try and get into Tree. And we already saw they were being kind of contested a little bit by Heroes, who have now surpassed them in the positioning onto the launch site. So they're going to either have to get through Heroes or try and take a northern rotation and get through NRG, which is equally as difficult.
Well, Fnatic, they're forcing their way through the choke. And I'm going to say, if the information gathered from that rotate by Weibo Gaming wasn't a good enough indication as to where this zone is going, well, it doesn't get much better, right? Completely being overtaken, and look at Fnatic, they're bullying their way into this building.
It's one thing Fnatic certainly do, is show aggression. It didn't work out for them in the first couple of games today. They pushed very aggressively and they died because of it, but now let's see if they can do any better.
Oh, Satsuki's gone down though. Yuka does manage to get the trade though, so it's a 2v2 inside of this building, and Yuka is going to be healthy enough not just to get that kill, but also to get his teammate back up. Fnatic have got to be careful here.
Remember, it's Riddle Order on the other side of this. They're in last position at the moment. They can't afford really to go down and lose this fight.
Well, Leica's going in here. Damage is done. Surely it's just about cleaning up for the rest of Fnatic, and that's exactly what they do, and they cannot reproduce what we just saw in the last game. Riddle Order from Weibo Weibo Gaming, they are down at the bottom of the leaderboards and they're going to stay there. Fnatic, though, got to be careful because now comes the third pipe of DMS, who are in 19th.
Well, from 20th position to 19th position, equally as important on the flip side here, but their advantage is Fnatic have taken a lot of damage and will be eliminated. So the aggression does come out from Fnatic, but it's DMS who benefited from it most. But that is the worst possible news for Riddle Order. Not only are you eliminated as one of the first teams, but the team just ahead of you has now benefited from it and will have one of the best positions for the end game.
It's almost as if they got to watch it from the worst view as well. I'm sure the spectator view would have jumped over and they would have seen exactly what went down in and around this tree building. So tough moments. As DMS, by winning that fight, are now in a great position for this endgame. If you're wondering where this zone is going to be pulling, it's towards the platform and the silos where Dragon Esports find themselves right now. It's actually pulling away from tree slightly down towards the southeast.
It's good news for the teams in launch site as well, the teams who are on the east side. If you are able to win the scrap that I was talking about between Weibo and Heroes, you'll actually have the entirety of launch site and you can hold that kind of tunnel area for quite a while and then push into the game late. It's not the best position to win from, but it's certainly a position where you could reach a top 5, for example, points that are desperately needed for both of those teams.
TSM in the kill feed here, you can see Reps has managed to get one and the finish onto Feiju. Whereas SSG, you can see they've got a tough rotate in front of them. 16 squads still remaining here. NRG lose one as well. Nocturnal just got taken down by a boat check. As SSG try and move their way forward. Reps will go down though, as TSM look to fight inside of this building. Mingyu, last player alive. TSM trying to push. It's Verholst who's in front of him, and Verholst who gets that kill and clutches for TSM.
And Northampton don't really want it either. There was a chance for maybe a third party. SSG not close enough either, so TSM will not be thirded. They can at least get out of dodge and stay alive, even if it's just as a one. So Verholst with his entire family, or sorry, not his entire family, but a lot of his family in the stands might have to watch him go down here, even after a very big fight to put kills on the board. They've got 6 kills at the moment, TSM, into the top 15, but can he get any further?
Well, one thing you can do as Pathfinders, use the grapple to stay alive a little bit longer than you would have previously, and we've just seen it happen on our screen, but everybody now has to leave from the northern side of the map towards tree. That's why you're seeing the desperation. That's why you're seeing the knocks. That's why the carnage is beginning in and around tree. Everybody is falling. TSM fall, NRG fall, Heroes go as well. We're down to 12.
And remember, Mizuchi had a lot of success on World's Edge last time we saw them earlier on today, but they are burning to a crisp at the moment and can barely see anything through this smoke. You're lucky if you've even hit a shot at this point. Timmy, the last remains.
Northampton have got, but Timmy's still alive here, and every second he stays alive with the speed at which teams are dropping. You get the feeling there might be points on the board. This time, the answer is no, though. Mizuchi will fall, and now we find ourselves into our top 10. Sharky survived as a solo for VP.
Does look like EXO are aware of this, though, as well as How, so he should go down soon. And I imagine Virtus.pro will be the next team to fall, if not for some sort of miraculous escape here. But I've seen crazier things happen. By the way, on the other side of the map, Weibo did win their fight, or at least were able to survive against Heroes, and will now dominate launch site side. So there is a big chance for Weibo to get another big finish here.
Yeah, they just walk in on that side as well. Elsewhere, though, EXO Clan are swinging in. It's Wanagashi who gets the first knock, though. On the other side of it, the Havoc spray is good, and Swinny can't clutch. EXO Clan eliminated. 9 squads now remaining as How hold.
Won't be too detrimental, of course, for EXO Clan, but for How, that's massive for their chances of getting closer to that top 9. But now here comes Na'Vi. 8th place at the moment, looking to try and get a few more points here. They're into the top 9 squads remaining as well.
They're also able to get the knock onto How, and they will eliminate them as well. So now by getting that kill, they boost their placement points alongside KP as well. Na'Vi starting to turn up on the north side of this zone. Alliance next to them in the tree structure. Inside of the building, inside of the zone though, is DMS. They are the team who won the fight between Fnatic a little bit earlier and have held down this prior position. But look at this now. It's SSG who are walking up, and SSG who get the first knock, and Zainu with that Havoc does the work.
Get the first knock. Can they follow up with the damage, though? Looks like, yes, they can, but Phony's also fallen, and DRG are doing their best to try and hold on here, but not easy to do against an SSG roster who know how to fight together, but now Na'Vi say, we'll have a piece of it.
They're going to third party this. You can see they're swinging in behind, and Henchman will take down Zainu, but it seems like everybody is still alive somehow or other, even if it's 1 or 2 players. who are just trying to play their lives and hope for a few more placement points. Koifel is still there. 2 players still inside from our South America representatives, and Na'Vi at the moment not quite sure where to turn their attention as finally they turn it inside.
There's a real chance for Na'Vi to pick up big points here in this game if they can hold this northern side. Their next worry, though, is Alliance, who are starting to join from the west, and are certainly having a look at this one. You can see the height that Hackers has at the moment, watching over Na'Vi. SSG are currently being blitzed by both squads as well.
Dragon Esports eliminated. SSG as a 2. Still alive in this game, still playing on those silos. Effect gets the kill onto Matafe, though. Can that knock be converted? Hackers has got to be careful here and uses the zipline to escape. Effect giving him a little bit of cover with the smoke as well, and he's going to be able to use those smokes to heal his team as they find themselves pinched in a very difficult spot. Shots come in from SSG as well elsewhere to pick up a few more kills.
It's Weibo Gaming, who else but the team who was in last place to begin with at the start of the last map. And now they're up into the top 9 as they find themselves into the top 5. Na'Vi eliminated, Alliance are down as well. Weibo reigns supreme in these last 2 games.
It's funny what confidence could do, right? One zone comes to them on Broken Moon, they win it, and all of a sudden they look like they're unbeatable here at World's Edge as well. VP as a solo. One of our top 4 squads here. DMS still inside of this building as a full team. Elevate, Bleed are on top or below them as well. And the aforementioned Weibo Gaming, who were bottom when we came onto the desk, they'll find themselves with a chance to go back-to-back.
I hate to say we're the lucky charm, but maybe they just needed something a little bit extra. If you are superstitious, which a lot of the players are, by the way. So it is Elevate and Bleed on top of DMS, like you mentioned. Still a solo rat from Virtus Pro. The struggle here for DMS and Elevate Bleed is they just need to worry about each other as they think about this final zone. Weibo might be focused a little bit by both of them if there's an angle from the doorway of the building they hold.
Well, Elevate, Bleed, who are on top of the building now, and they're trying to avoid a little bit of damage, and not only planning their next rotate, but what a big game this is for them. They're currently sat in 10th place. If Crusade was to finish right now, they would not qualify for those finals. They would go through to the LCQ. But they're having your fate in your own hands in these kind of situations and these kind of games, Dan. These are the ones you need to make the most of.
The thing is, starting this game, Elevate Bleed were in 7th. They've dropped down 3 positions as Virtus Pro will be eliminated. Elevate dropped down 3 positions because of performances like this from Weibo. Weibo now, by the way, up into the top 5. Another win here, and that might just have them within touching distance of the grand finals.
Jackie Chan looking to do some moves on the main stage here in Riyadh. They're going to chop down the competition at the moment as we have just 3 squads remaining. And Weibo Gaming are in position to win this one as well. The other 2 teams, DMS and Elevate Bleed, are stacked up on top of each other.
Yeah, I like the spots that Weibo are taking up here. They're spreading themselves out a little bit and taking angles to watch the exits from both DMS and Elevate. Now, Elevate do have an easier exit, of course, because there's a lot more open space, but they are also more vulnerable from the initial shot. So it's going to come down to where Weibo focus, and if DMS have the ability to maybe disrupt them with an ultimate, for example. If a bang ult comes down, that could really change things for Elevate here. They don't have a Watson.
Yeah, no Watson at all. No interception pylon down either. It's going to be a battle of the Bangalore ults by the looks of things. Zach Mason takes some damage from that charged Sentinel, so he's going to have to take just a second here to pop that battery before they plan their next move. But Weibo Gaming, this is a chance you don't get too often in any competitive situation to go back-to-back. But Elevate, they've swung out here. They're looking to play this truck.
Remember, no team has actually won 2 games so far in this lobby. It's been a different winner every time. Can Weibo change that? The answer might be no, because Borin's gone down. Elevate have been able to swing out, and suddenly now Weibo are at 2.
DMS also swinging out of the building. Smokes are going to go down. Bangalore ults all around as well. Not going to be able to get Borin back up on his feet. He's turned into a death box, and now Elevate are trying to swing on this, trying to take even more space.
Trying to, but DMS are putting down fire.
Exhibit down.
To Elevate Bleed. The exhibits have arrived, so now all that info's there, and Elevate want to take down Weibo, but they're being peppered from a distance.
Shots come in from Lou, and Lou gets 2. Can he get the armor swap, though? That's the question. Are they going to be able to clutch up here, or is it just opening the door for DMS to sweep in? Altus gets the first knock. Lou will go down, and DMS will be your champions here. And again, a team who was down at the bottom of the leaderboards now jumps up into 11.
Just when you think you're safe, a team at the bottom of the leaderboard finds a win.
What's going on?